Hey there. So it is Monday, and on Mondays I do an oracle card reading for my people. I started off doing this just for myself, and then I started to really get that I was pulling these cards for my people, right? So for my clients, I have private groups. I have a free private group actually. Also, if you're interested, you let me know. It's called the Rule Breakers Freedom Forum. And so often I'll do a reading and I'll just share it in the group, and it's crazy how apt it is, right? So I've been getting this sense, hey, Moni. I've been getting this sense just over the past several weeks, especially as we went through some of that eclipse craziness, that the message is something that I need to be sharing with a wider audience. So if you're feeling called to tune in to this video, I trust that there's a message here for you. Now, one of the things that I love about my work is that I get to love people, right? Like, aren't we all looking for someone who can offer us this safe place to land and care about us and listen to us and know us fully, right? So that's a huge part of the work that I do as a coach, and also teaching people how to love themselves and be able to find that soft place to land inside themselves. And as I have gone through, I'm in year 6 of being in private practice here as a life and liberation coach, and I'm just seeing more and more how these spiritual tools are available to us. And so I was secretly for years using cards with my clients, and I'm just not going to be secret about it anymore. Shannon is here. Stephanie is also here. Hi, gang. All right, so I have a few decks, oracle decks. These are not tarot decks. Shannon, you gave me my first tarot deck like back in the 1980s. I don't do tarot card readings. I do oracle card readings, and I really just follow my instinct. Now I have a few decks, and I've been pulling from 2 decks recently, but I got the message today that I needed to pull from my Mother Mary deck. And it's a Doreen Virtue deck, and it says Mary, Queen of Angels is the name of the deck. So I just jumped in and did a reading. You know, it's interesting because I know that I have a friend who studies ritual, right, and is very much about creating a ritual. I'm often too impatient for ritual, and what's phenomenal about when you get really practiced in tuning into your intuition and your spiritual guidance, and you're really practiced with using these tools, deciding to use the tool is ritual enough to get you tapped in, which is really cool. Hi, Karen. So I lit a candle and I burned some sage because that's part of my Monday ritual. Another thing that I do with my coaching clients is help them create rituals that support their listening to their inner voice and getting spiritually connected. So that's just me giving you a little bit of the behind the scenes here on a Monday. But I started to shuffle the deck and I just got like, pull this card, read from this deck, pull that card, pull this card. It was like a no nonsense experience. And sometimes it's like, oh, let me shuffle a little more, right? No, this was just a very direct, clear, clean, no nonsense reading, the way that it felt for me. And then the cards that I pulled. So from my Mother Mary deck, I pulled this card, Be Strong. It says, I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. Right? I don't know. The lighting has just been so weird here today. I don't know if you can see that. Mother Mary, be strong. I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. And the message says, this card counsels you to take swift and firm action toward resolving your present situation. Mother Mary avows that you are stronger than you think you are. You can also call upon the wellspring of God's strength to lift you up. Do not wallow in any feelings of victimhood or passivity. Use your God-given strength now. This card may also be asking you to engage in physical activity to develop your strong, healthy body. If you've been thinking about working out with weights, then this card is additional validation that it's time to exercise. Right? Is that no nonsense or what? And in fact, I was just talking to a client the other day about, it seems like she's having financial issues, but my sense for her was that there were energy leaks going on in all of her systems, financial, but also physical. And we started to talk about diet. Among all of these certifications that I've acquired over the years of obsessive interest in personal development, I'm also a holistic health coach. And it is amazing. We think sometimes of having a body as not spiritual, but strengthening your body can strengthen your spiritual connection as well, right? And also, for God's sake, if we're struggling, I had adrenal fatigue for years, I had bulimia. If we're struggling with physical symptoms and physical stuff, sometimes, sure, that can be the pathway to a transcendent experience, absolutely. But if we're denying the messages that our body is sending about healing and strengthening, that can halt us on our soul path. So I love that the Mother Mary card talks about if you're feeling called to strengthen your body, heed that call. Hey, Heather, Kenny is here, Ethan Colson. Hello, high school. I love that. People from all walks of my life. So the second reading that I did was from an oracle deck called The Sacred Traveler. It's a Denise Lynn deck. And again, this was just like, no nonsense, you know. It's like sometimes there's this, we need to be more permissive in our softness with ourselves, but the message that I'm getting this week is like, step up, guys, eclipses are over, full moon is past, let's snap to, let's get some action, aligned action, not nonsensical action, but like aligned action, let's get some action happening. And I just love that it's very clear, because a lot of times when we start doing personal development work, we can get lost meandering through the maze of like self-discovery and is this a sign? What's the message? And we can get really far out. And one of the things that I was realizing yesterday was when we get spiritual, it can look really woo-woo, but spirituality, it's energetic. And I just believe that there are places where our science hasn't been able to capture why we get intuition or what energy is fully yet. But it's a definite, I almost want to say hardcore, it's a hardcore thing that you can rest upon to get spiritual guidance. Okay, so without further ado, the card that I pulled from the Sacred Traveler deck is View from Above. Get the big picture. View from above, get the big picture. That is one of our commands for this week. I'm going to read to you. Don't get bogged down in details. Let go of petty concerns. Get the big picture. Imagine that you're seeing your life from above. Only do what is truly important. Everything else is inconsequential. Go through each area of your life to look and see what the big picture is. Make major life decisions based on this strategy. The Sacred Traveler wants you to know it's easy to forget what the overall journey is about when the traveler gets caught up in day-to-day survival and the ups and downs of life on the road. It's only when the traveler takes time to look at the big picture that he realizes that most worries and anxieties are only temporary. Imagine yourself in the future. Ask yourself if what you are doing now will be important to your future self. Focusing on these concerns takes up valuable life force energy. Keep your focus directed on the important things in life. Let everything else drop away. Now, that is a skill worth cultivating, isn't it? Because it's true. I don't know if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I actually have this pyramid above my desk because it helps to orient me to where I am and where my clients are. So if you don't have your basic survival needs met, again, like I said a second ago, sometimes when we have nothing, it creates this transcendent experience and a spiritual connection. Our spiritual connection deepens. But for most of us human beings, we get so caught in the daily struggles of survival that it's hard for us to see the big picture. So I think this card is saying, like, don't buy in to the daily struggles. Like, again, if you need to tighten something up in terms of your human basic survival, that's something that you're going to want to focus on, but don't look at all the things. Like, I have clients who really want to focus on, like, the spiritual stuff, but really they just need to lock down their living situation and start making consistent money, right? Then I have people who are obsessed with, do I have enough money? And interestingly, they're usually the people who have more money, and they need to shift into looking at their life from the view from above and going, I think I might be over focusing on my survival. I don't think I need to do that anymore. I think that's old me. I think future me, like deathbed perspective, will look back at this moment and say, I wish I had gotten more spiritually connected. So it's different for everyone. Final card. I also think that's interesting what I just read about the view from above. I just posted to Facebook. I have a cold right now. It's a very bad cold. And it's gotten me thinking about how the old me would have handled having a cold. And I would not be here doing a Facebook Live, even though I said last week, okay, I'm going to do a Facebook Live every day. I'm going to go watch a movie and eat dinner in a little while, just totally chill out on the couch. Hey, Ellen. But I'm seeing that, like, the new me, there's this new version of me who's actually still active in life, even while having a cold. Not overworking, not pushing through it, but also not using it as an excuse to drop out of life. So I feel like that card, when it talks about the future you, right? Like, that's actually a visualization that I can lead people through. It's like how to connect to the future you so that you can get a sense of where you're going and what you need to focus on now. Okay, final card is from Caroline Mace's archetype deck. And an archetype is basically like a persona or a way of being almost, but like a personal style, like a personality style. Like the mother, there's a mother archetype. People who aren't even mothers, but they have this beautiful mothering way about them, right? So the archetype, in fact, it's funny I should say that, because without further ado, I pulled the father archetype card for us. And each of these, I'm just going to read it. It says, has a light attribute. Each archetype has its strengths and its weaknesses, or its light attributes and its shadow attributes. So the light attributes of the father are talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. Interesting. Shadow attributes are dictatorial control and abuse of authority. What I like about the father archetype, and why I say that this isn't a softie reading, and of course, this is, you can be a woman and have the father archetype strong. Anyone can cultivate the father energy, but again, that masculine, excuse me. Yeah. Wish that was a hot toddy, but it's just some water. The masculine energy is like the banks of the stream, right? And the feminine is creative. So you can, as a man, you have masculine and feminine. As a woman, you have masculine and feminine. But I believe that this reading is calling us to strengthen our masculine, right? To strengthen our banks, our embankments. Let me read this again from the book. The father archetype, also the patriarch or the progenitor, has a talent both for creating and for overseeing others, whether a family or a work group. The father is characterized by courage and protectiveness. Do you see how that relates to the Be Strong card that we got from Mother Mary? And the View from Above card that we pulled from the Sacred Traveler deck? Do you see the theme? Are you feeling the energetic theme here? The father, let's see, the shadow father emerges when guidance and protection turn into dictatorial control or abuse of authority. So we're being called to step into our masculine, our father, the patriarchal guide, right? Each of us energetically take a view from above of our lives and ourselves, and to be strong and to just get stuff done, to execute stuff. Now the integrated version of ourselves has masculine, feminine, and has shadow and light all interwoven. When you are not integrated, you'll just, like, let's say, for example, someone who struggles with addiction, or even not necessarily addiction. I've seen this in myself. I'm like, that's it. I'm ready to go, like, get drunk and be crazy, right? Those if I hadn't done my inner work, like I have done some crazy stuff in my life, but so now I could be like, I want to get a little wild. I want to go be a little bad, but I'm not going to do it in such a way that derails my life. So for example, somebody who does have an addiction or an alcohol problem, they will, what are the terms? There's a term, act out, I think is that phrases that you hear a lot in recovery programs. So it's like acting out. There's a way to express your shadow without derailing your life. And so I'm not saying, this is the reading for this week, bring these be strong, view from above, father-like qualities into our lives. That's what we're being called to do, but not to like kill off and disrupt and disregard our feminine side or our creative or the flow. These are the things that are the infrastructure of this week's energy that's gonna help us get stuff done, but not through subjugating or negating the other elements of ourself, right? So like me being very sick right now and still doing the Facebook Live that I committed to doing every day. That's the father energy. That's like, in fact, what did it say here? It said, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. This reading that I do every Monday is for the collective that I'm connected to. And so that father energy is that. It's like you stand up and you take the action and you do the thing that you're called to do, even when you're sick. Now I'm like I said, I had chicken soup for breakfast. I'm gonna go lie down on the couch now. My boyfriend is cooking dinner. So I'm also taking care of myself. Do you get the difference? Do you get the integrated self? Hey Meg, hi Carrie. So gang, I don't know if you have any questions. For those of you tuning in late, you can zoom back to the beginning or just take a look here. Mother Mary card, be strong. Theme number 1 for the week from Mother Mary. I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. Just a bizarrely cohesive reading. View from above, get the big picture from our Sacred Traveler deck. View from above, and finally, the father archetype. The father archetype. So the patriarchal energy with the talent for creating and supporting life and positive guiding light within a tribal unit. So with that, I hope you feel fortified, and I hope that you got the energetic transmission of this reading, which is strength, stature, standing. If you're familiar with the power poses, I think that this week, the power pose would be some kind of a masculine, I'm seeing like a, maybe I'll post a link to the power poses below, but like almost like a kung fu, like I'm holding my fists by my waist and like legs wide apart, slightly bent, almost like a haka pose. Are you familiar with when the men do haka, right? That masculine, patriarchal, guiding, forceful, protective energy of being strong and taking the bigger view. That's the energetic transmission for this week. All right. Okay, so happy to see everybody. I'll be doing this every Monday, and I'll be popping in with some kind of a Facebook Live every day.